How many English videos have you watched? Be honest. 10? 50? 200? And still, when it's finally your turn to speak, your throat tightens, your lips freeze, your tongue forgets its job, your mind goes blank. You know the words, you understand the sentences, you can even correct other people's grammar in your head. But when the sound has to come out of your mouth, something breaks. And the worst part? You don't say this out loud, but somewhere deep inside, you think, maybe I'm just not good at English. Let me stop you right there. You are not bad at English. You were never bad. You were just trained the wrong way. No one ever told you this, but English is not only a language you learn, it's a language you move. And your mouth was never trained to move. Think about it. In your native language, you don't think, you don't prepare, you don't translate. Your mouth just moves automatically, confidently, freely. But in English, you think first, then you translate, then you judge yourself, then you panic, and by the time you're ready to speak, the moment is already gone. That silence you feel, that embarrassment, that little smile you give instead of speaking, I've been there. I remember sitting in front of people who spoke English fluently, nodding my head, smiling like I understood everything, while inside I was screaming, I know this! Why can't I say this? And that's when I realized something dangerous. Not vocabulary, not grammar, not even confidence. The real problem was my mouth. My brain understood English, but my mouth had no idea how to produce it. Nobody tells you this in school. Nobody tells you this on most YouTube channels. They keep giving you rules, lists, tips, tricks, but they never ask the most important question. Has your mouth ever practiced English like a skill, or only memorized it like a subject? Imagine this for a second. You read 100 books about swimming. You watch professional swimmers every day. You know all the techniques. You know how arms move. You know how breathing works. But you never enter the water. What happens the day you jump in? You panic. Your body freezes. You forget everything. That's exactly what's happening to you with English. You didn't fail. You were never trained. Your lips are trained for your native sounds. Your tongue is trained for your native rhythm. Your jaw is trained for your native speed. English has a different rhythm, different pressure, different flow, and your mouth feels uncomfortable, so your brain calls it fear. That fear you feel before speaking, it's not fear of English, it's fear of unfamiliar movement. And here's the part that hurts a little. You've been blaming yourself for something that was never your fault. You thought, I need more vocabulary, I need better grammar, I need confidence. But confidence doesn't come before speaking. Confidence comes from speaking. Fluent people didn't wake up confident. They trained their mouths until confidence had no choice but to appear. And look, I'm not here to talk at you. I'm talking with you. Because I know exactly what it feels like to pause a video, repeat a sentence quietly, sound okay alone, and then completely fail in real conversation. That moment when you think, why can I say this here, but not there? It's because English never became physical for you. It stayed trapped in your head. But here's the truth that changes everything. The moment English enters your mouth daily, your fear starts leaving automatically. Not because you're brave, not because you're talented, but because your mouth starts recognizing English as normal. And that's what this journey is about. Not perfect grammar, not fancy accents, not sounding like someone else. It's about training your mouth so well that speaking English feels as normal as breathing. You don't need hours. You don't need pressure. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need the courage to sound like a beginner,
so you don't stay silent forever. This is not another Learn English video. This is the video that fixes what was missing. Because once your mouth wakes up, your voice follows. And when your voice follows, your confidence stops being a problem. So if you've ever said, "I understand English, but I can't speak," stay with me, because in the next part, I'll show you exactly how to train your mouth daily in a way schools never taught and YouTube rarely explains. And when you look in the mirror again, you won't ask, "Can I speak English?" You'll say, "This is my voice, and I'm finally using it."
And this is where most people expect some magic trick, some secret phrase, some shortcut that suddenly makes everything easy. I won't insult you with that. Because real change doesn't come from tricks, it comes from training the thing you've been avoiding, your mouth. Let me tell you something honestly. The first time you train your mouth properly, it will feel awkward, strange, almost stupid. And that's exactly how you'll know it's working. Because growth always feels uncomfortable before it feels natural. Right now, your mouth treats English like a guest, something foreign, something temporary, something that doesn't belong. That's why it hesitates. So we don't force confidence. We build familiarity. Think about how children learn. They don't start with grammar. They don't care about mistakes. They make sounds. They repeat. They move their mouth again and again and again. And slowly, the sounds stop feeling strange. That's what you missed. So let me walk with you through this, calmly, realistically. Not 2 hours, not pressure, not perfection. 5 minutes. But 5 minutes done the right way. The first minute is not about English at all. It's about waking your mouth up. Your lips, your tongue, your jaw, they've been lazy for English. You gently roll your lips, not fast, not loud, just movement. You stretch your tongue out, then back in, slowly. You open your mouth wide, then relax. You smile, hold it, release. It looks silly, I know, but so does stretching before exercise, and nobody questions that. This minute tells your body one thing: English is coming. Be ready. Then comes the moment most people skip, and that's why they stay stuck. The mirror. Not to judge yourself, not to criticize your face, but to remove fear. You look at yourself and you speak one simple sentence. Not 10, not a paragraph, one. I am learning to speak clearly. This is my voice. I don't need to be perfect. You say it slowly, watching your lips, your eyes, your posture. Then you say it again, slightly faster, and again. Do you feel it? That tiny shift? That discomfort fading? That's your brain learning that speaking is safe. Because fear doesn't disappear by thinking, it disappears by exposure. Now, this is where fluency actually starts. Shadow speaking. Not reading, not repeating after long pauses, not translating. You hear a short sentence and you repeat it immediately. Same rhythm, same flow, same emotion. Even if it's messy, even if it's wrong, you don't stop. You don't correct. You don't apologize to yourself. You move forward. This trains something powerful: reaction. Fluent speakers don't think fast, they react fast. And reaction only comes from repetition under movement. Your brain, your ears, your mouth, together. For the first time. And yes, you will sound bad at first. That's not failure. That's progress making noise. Most people quit here because their ego gets hurt. They say, "I don't sound good. This isn't working. I need more preparation." No, you don't need preparation. You need permission to be bad temporarily. Because silence is permanent if you avoid this stage. Then comes the final minute, the one that changes how you feel. You take one sentence and you say it 3 ways: slow, normal, fast. Not rushing, flowing. Your mouth learns speed without panic. Your brain learns trust. And suddenly,
something strange happens. English starts feeling lighter. Not perfect, not fluent, but possible. And that's dangerous in a good way, because once something feels possible, your brain stops resisting it. Here's the mistake people make at this point. They think improvement should be dramatic. No, real change is quiet. You'll notice it when you answer without translating. You don't freeze immediately. Your voice doesn't disappear. Small wins, but those small wins stack, day by day. And one day, you'll speak and realize you didn't overthink. That moment, that's when everything shifts. Not because English became easy, but because your mouth stopped fighting it. And listen to me carefully here. You don't need an accent. You don't need fancy words. You don't need approval. You need ownership. This is your voice. This is your English. And every day you train like this, you're not just learning a language, you're breaking an identity that told you, I can't speak. In the next part, we'll take this further. We'll fix the robotic sound, the broken rhythm, the one word at a time problem. You'll learn how fluent speakers flow even with simple words, because fluency is not about saying more, it's about saying it together. Stay with me. You're not behind. You're right on time.
So now you understand something most people never do. Fluency is not built by adding more information. It's built by changing how you speak. And this is where everything comes together. Because even after training your mouth, even after practicing daily, many learners still sound stiff. Not wrong, just robotic. One word at a time. Pause. Think. Translate. Speak. That's the final wall. And it has nothing to do with intelligence. It has to do with flow. Fluent speakers don't speak words. They speak chunks, sound groups, clusters. They don't say, I am going to the market. They say, I'm going to go to the market. Not faster, smoother, like water. And this is where your English starts sounding alive. Here's the truth nobody explains clearly. Your brain can't be fluent if your mouth keeps stopping. Every stop tells your nervous system, danger, think, control. Flow tells it, you're safe, keep going. So we stop chasing perfect sentences and we train movement. You start listening differently, not for words, for rhythm. You stop asking, what does this word mean? And start feeling, how does this sound move? That's why music helps. That's why movies help. That's why shadowing works, because language is sound first, meaning second. Now imagine this. You're speaking, you make a mistake, and you don't stop. You don't apologize. You don't freeze. You continue. That moment is more powerful than 100 grammar lessons. Because confidence is not about being correct. It's about being unbreakable. Most people break at the first mistake. Fluent speakers don't. They flow through mistakes. That's why they sound confident. Not because they're perfect, but because they're relaxed. And relaxation is trained, not hoped for. This is also where fear finally loses its grip. Fear survives in pauses, in silence, in hesitation. Flow starves it. So when you practice now, you don't stop mid-sentence. You don't restart. You finish. Even if it's ugly, especially if it's ugly. Because every time you finish a thought without collapsing, your brain learns something powerful. I can do this. And that belief compounds day after day until one day you're talking and you realize something strange. You're not thinking about English. You're thinking about the idea, the story, the emotion. That's fluency. Not speed, not accent, not big words. Presence. And now,
This is the part I need you to hear deeply. If you stop here, if you only understand this, nothing changes. Understanding doesn't rewire habits. Action does. 5 minutes a day. Mirror, shadow, flow, finish sentences. That's it. Not motivation, not inspiration, training. Because motivation fades, training builds identity. And identity is what speaks when confidence is low. You don't wake up fluent one day. You become fluent quietly. In your room, in your car, in the mirror, when nobody's watching. That's why people are shocked later. They say, "When did you get so good at English?" They didn't see the work. They only hear the result. But you'll know. You'll know it wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it wasn't intelligence. It was repetition with courage. Now, let me leave you with this message. You were never bad at English. You were trained to be silent, to wait, to be careful, to avoid mistakes. But English doesn't reward caution, it rewards movement. And today, you stop waiting. You stop preparing forever. You stop hiding behind one more video. You speak, even if your voice shakes, even if it's slow, even if it's imperfect, because silence has cost you enough, and your voice deserves space. So tonight, stand in front of the mirror. Say one sentence, out loud, without stopping. Tomorrow, do it again, and again, and again. And one day soon, you won't be trying to speak English. You'll just be speaking. That's not a dream. That's a decision. Your English doesn't need permission anymore. Neither do you. This is where your silence ends.